Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara,
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
and today we are back to talk about The Shy. This is season 5, episode 9, and it was titled "I'm Looking for a New Thing." I cannot wait to talk about this one because I know we're gonna have some stuff to say about your girl Tiff. So, yes, we about to get into it. If you guys can hang tight for just a moment, we'll be right back. All right, everyone, we are back. Like I said, we are talking about The Shy. I just I'm ready to get into it. No need to beat around the bush. We can just hop right into the drama.
Okay.
Emmett came clean and he told Keisha about what happened with Tiff. I'm glad Emmett has been continuing to show growth, continuing to be honest and upfront. Tiff was dead wrong, and so Keisha now gets to see exactly what kind of person she's turned into, because Keisha was upset that she could no longer trust Tiffany. And I don't blame her at all.
It was funny that Tiffany told Keisha to not trust Emmett. He's the one that you can't trust.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
Tiff is probably, and I'm not defending Tiff, but she's probably thinking the same thing, because she probably like, well, she was my friend, and now she's talking to my ex-husband, so I can't trust you. So I think it goes both ways. Even though I am Team Keisha and Emmett, I can see Tiff saying in her head like, hey,
Let it go, Tiff. Let it go.
Well,
no, I wanted to.
Your girl.
You would think that if your girlfriend is starts dating your ex-husband or soon to be ex-husband, the logical question is like, well, dang, well, how long was this going on? Was this going on while we were together? And now the only difference is that Keisha and Emmett did have a relationship
exactly
before them, and so they already had a history.
Yeah, I mean, you have a valid point there. But I think the friendship, kind of like what I was saying before, I think last week I mentioned, I think Tiff and Keisha, they gonna co-parent, for the sake of the kids and stuff, but their friendship is done.
Yeah, I think it's a wrap. I think
I think I was super surprised. I think we all thought that it was gonna be done with Tiff and Rob, but that is not so.
He surprised me, because I think some other brothers would have rolled on Tiff.
A lot of brothers would have rolled on Tiff.
They would have been like, okay.
And you know what? If Rob stay away from that pipe every now and then, I think he might roll. Pipe, weed, whatever you're doing. Look, he's a stop.
It's not insane.
I don't know what. Look, whatever he's doing, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if a sister rolled up on me talking about, like it was Christmas. I tried to sleep with my ex, and you go like, what? You want something? You want something stronger than what I could ever do? Because I'm trying to tell you, I would not have been. There is no way. Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna grab her and throw her around or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he did ask the right questions. But my God, man, obviously, for me, I would say, look here. Okay, so what we got right now is going to be put on hold, because obviously you're not through with this situation over here.
Exactly.
You could go show up at Dude's house, and the only reason y'all didn't get it in is because he didn't let you. Then you got the problem.
Look.
Yeah, and she up in Rob's house.
Right.
Now.
I mean, you in my house.
Up in Rob's house.
So you got to end that. You got to end that. And the only reason I don't think, and he even said it, he smoked a lot of weed, and it's gotta be the weed, because I'm trying to tell you, most brothers, a lot of brothers would have probably handled it a little differently and I'm talking about what they shouldn't do. If she ain't got, you don't have a right to put your hands on her, because it's very easily to get this taken care of. Just tell them to go.
Yeah, and I understand Rob trying to take this Zen approach. He's trying to break the cycle of his family and having, all of this dysfunction and yelling and whatnot. But, there are certain instances where you can be justified in having a response. Like, you don't have to remain calm all the time in order to avoid dysfunction. And I think for real, I think Tiff is a walking red flag at this point. And certain things you can't just let skate by like they never happened. And you can't just try to say like, oh, well, as long as you don't do it again. It's like, no, I think a response and maybe a rash response was warranted in that situation.
Look, my thing is he could have been super cool and just said, well, look, right now, this thing we ain't got. It's over. And if it comes back, fine. But right now, it's over. I'm sorry, I did the best I could, but obviously,
because he came in there with breakfast in bed and stuff, and I'm just like, this brother is catering to you, and this is how you repay him.
Yes.
I'm like,
and I mean, he got me though. I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, man is. He better than me, because I can tell you right now,
he's better than a lot of dudes.
I'd have packed her stuff for her. She wouldn't have even she would not have had to lift a finger. I would have been packing for her.
Well,
and
I
would have
called her an Uber if necessary.
But at what point do you question what kind of person she is? Because not only has she been careless with your feelings, as he pointed out, she's also careless with her friends' feelings. He straight up told her, like, you're effed up. So, like, you called him to question her character now. Like, what kind of person are you that you would do this to your friend and to me?
But that's
he told her, he said, you ain't shit.
Exactly.
He said that to her, too.
And that's the point, because you mentioned it. It's about character now. We can say she was hurt. We can say the breakup. We can say the friendship versus the girl code and all these other naughty nods. But my thing is, now we're talking about character.
Because that just showed like who you are, and when you are hurt, and I think when you're going through tribulation or trial or whatever, and the kind of person that you are during that time is very telling about your values. And so I don't know, Tiff.
No, I know, but what about this? Since she expected him to vote and he didn't, will that change her? Because she had a different response when she talked to Dante. When Dante called her, she was like, I'm in a relationship. I live with someone. And Rob came out the cut and came on screen and made his presence felt.
Yes.
So I was wondering if Rob's response, the fact that he did not run away and everything, maybe kind of solidified Tiff a little bit, like reassured her, like, hey, I got a good man. He in this, like, we, the contrast is the conversation with Keisha and Emmett when they had the conversation and they said he said, this is the first time I feel like I'm in a healthy one.
Yes.
And maybe for Tiff, maybe once she told him, she came clean, got that off her conscience, and then found out that he didn't just kick her to the curb, that she might have been like, hey, I may now be in a healthy relationship. So that might give her some
women do that all the time with brothers. Women will forgive them, and then they'll forgive them again, and then they'll forgive them again. And the brother, it's reciprocal. It just keeps coming back, keeps doing the same thing. And sometimes you just got to put a heavy foot down. Sometimes you got to say, no, I'm not accepting this for me. This got nothing to do with you anymore. Now I got to put my foot down for me, because it's not to say that we can't hang or get together some other time. But right now, you are in no mental state to be with me, because I'm trying to do all I can for you. And all you doing is thinking about Emmett and that situation, that you supposedly left. So since you're not gone from there, my suggestion is that you go on back to that stuff, figure it out.
Yeah. But it leads back to what I said. in the beginning about I thought that Tiff should have gotten herself together first before
Of
you
course.
move on to a relationship.
Definitely.
Because you when you don't, you do take that baggage on to a new relationship. And it
Mhm.
could be the right person, but not right time.
The right time. Yep.
You
I do
later
think
on.
she learned her lesson though. I think
I don't
she's
think so. I don't think
I
so.
do.
I
You know
do.
why? You know why?
Because
Because
her
it really is
response to
not a
Dante.
lesson. It's really not a lesson to learn. What it is she needs to get over it. When she gets over it, and that's a me thing. When she gets over
Well, she
it,
she said that I don't love Emmett like that anymore. And once they hashed that out, once they had that
Mhm.
conversation, and he let her know that he wasn't going anywhere, her response to Dante and everything was different. And then Rob came and showed his presence, and then he sat back in the cut. That's why I said I think she was in a different space then, and I think once she found out that he wasn't going nowhere, that clicked in her mind too.
well, I mean, he
Yeah.
gave her ample opportunity to say, "I'm not going anywhere." She didn't have to go
Mhm.
through all that, but
No,
as
she
far as
didn't, but
as
she
far
young
as
and she
far
toxic, you
as
know.
toxic is number one. Young is number two. I look. My whole point is she needs to settle back, go back to her mom's house, get her life together, then make that choice as to what she's going to do as far as a relationship. Because right now she is too toxic for anybody's relationship.
But
Now,
you know what? There's some women that you know they don't understand when they don't have. They're so used to chaos and drama, and then when they're in something that's not that, they can't believe it, or or they don't believe that they're worthy of having
Mhm.
a relationship that doesn't have all this chaos.
men
Yeah.
are
So I
like
think him saying to her like, "Look, just don't do it again," da 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 da, and letting her know that he's there. I think that gave her some reassurance.
we hope.
Yeah.
Men are the same way. Men don't know what they've got until they lost it. And, and a lot of men come up short. And you know what I'm talking about. They come
Uh
up
huh.
short after they lost what
Hmm.
they should have realized they had in the long run. So,
Yep.
one thing I'm glad to see is not a man thing or a woman thing, it's just human nature. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to know when to pull the plug and say, okay, let's drop back and let's get this stuff together. She wants to come back after she gets her life together. Rob's all for that, I'm sure. But right now, it's just not there for her.
I
And
think Tiff needs the female version of Master Marshawn. She needs a Master Marshana or something.
Listen, Master Mashawn need a Master Mashawn. He out here scamming. I was like, Peaches been running off with Franklin money
oh
and
man,
going to the shy and scamming folks on the shy.
oh
I
man,
was like, we need a whole intervention.
that was
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. That was a funny scene too, where Emmett came to find out that Marshawn was a scam artist. But he was like, "But didn't you get something good out of the challenge?"
Yes.
So,
And he said, you didn't complete the challenge.
right. He said, but
mhm.
So it was funny. And he said, you telling folks not to have sex, and he got a woman over here.
that woman,
Right,
And the
well,
woman was basically helping him with promotion and
in
everything.
on
So
it.
well, he
Yeah.
said, "Do as I say, not as I do." So,
that's
so yeah.
scamming.
But hey, but
That's
you know what?
scamming.
But you know what? It's funny though. It really shows us what social media a lot of times is really about. It's all about the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
and that's basically what he's saying. It's all about the show. And if
The
you get
likes, the
Mhm.
something from it,
followers. So, yeah.
and if you get something from it, you get something from it. Don't judge me, you know.
And at the end of the day, it did help. It did
Yeah,
help Emmett. You
Mhm.
know,
yeah.
it did help him. But Nasser Mashawn was scamming.
Yeah,
That's why
and
he
I
had to pay for one of the combos.
right, and I like where Emmett and Keisha's relationship is right now because, of course, we can see Keisha is out there teaching EJ with helping him with his reading and stuff, and just being a good co-parent. And I think that their situation can work. I think that they can all find common ground and be
Mm-hmm.
able to co-parent in a healthy way as
Mm-hmm.
soon as a Tiff and Keisha have that conversation, because that's the thing that's looming. Tiff and Keisha
Mm-hmm.
still haven't had the chance to talk after what's happened.
I
And
got
so I think that Keisha is initially going to be a little pissed off and upset, and she's going to
Mm-hmm.
express that. But for the sake of the kids, I think they're going to come to common ground.
and see, Keisha is really gonna have to show her grown up self because already tried to, F my man. You I don't know. If I were
It
Keisha,
is. It's her man, but it's
their man.
husband.
It's their man. What the
It sounds
well,
like a
SZA song? Your man is my man. Is her man.
and yeah, this is SZA.
all right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this back and forth between the two of them and Emmett is just it's crazy. So she's gonna have to put up her grown lady pants, and really deal with Keisha. I mean, with Tiffany. Now the question is Tiffany really ready to have a grown up conversation with Keisha?
No, but she gonna have to be if she want to hold on to not only her chance at having a stable co-parenting situation, but holding on to her relationship with Rob. Because if she can't get it together and let that go and act like a mature adult, then Rob is going to drop her. Like, I think he is being very lenient at this point, giving her a second chance. But it's only so far that my grace is gonna keep extending.
Right.
So I think she gonna have to get it together for the sake of her relationship too. And you talked about somebody that needs to get it together and basically living their truth. Vic, I mean, he straight up got called out again this week. So I
think, Ron. I'm waiting for Ron to say what
okay.
So
no,
I can say what I say.
No. First, I got a question. What did Fatima mean by? She said something about a beard on the face and a beard
on your side.
Yes.
She said Tiara
on the arm. She said arm.
No, yes, because beard is an expression for someone who is gay and is having someone on their arm like a trophy. It's gifted. Yeah, look, I'm not even saying it as eloquently as I would like, but for show, who's not really,
Okay, I'm glad. I knew I would.
It's an expression.
Okay, I'm just like get my answer because that one luck in my old brain, that thing really threw me for a loop. Because
that's an expression, and I didn't say it as eloquently as I would have liked. But
now I'm a little okay. Fatima, you need to settle down. Okay, I understand what she wants, but you rise up from the bed asking these little off questions. I mean, just settle. Okay, I don't know.
I think that she had probably been stewing on it. Like, I think some people like sit on things because she has already addressed it with him before. And it seems like like you said, she popped up out the bed going off. And so she had probably been stewing on that for a second because she talked about not wanting to be treated like a fetish. She feels like he is afraid to be seen with her. He got his windows tinted and some more stuff. And so it's like all of these small observations have probably been building up in her. And it's clearly been some time since Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day was the last episode. And so now you can tell the time has gone by.
But Fatima knows that he got no problems being with a trans. She knows that.
Publicly, though.
Publicly. He's coming over there. He's dipping over there in the dark.
He was with girlfriend for
she wants an open relationship. She wants to be out and look. We talking about Lil Murder and Uncle Clifford. She wants the same thing that Uncle Clifford wanted from Lil Murder.
I got that, but I'm saying she also realizes the political climate that he's in, and
and she's getting. I think as feelings are starting to get involved with both of them, because at the same time he's sitting here talking about like when her phone rang, he asking for loyalty. How you asking for loyalty and you can't commit to me?
Hello.
Not ask for loyalty from me if you ain't ready to commit.
Exactly.
And so that's what I'm saying. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth,
I think both of them.
He want to come over there and creep and everything, and he wants to be with her, but he ain't ready to be with her out in the open. Right. But yet he trying to control who calling and he asking for loyalty.
No, ladies understand a man can't creep unless you let him creep.
Right. But he can't be asking for loyalty when he just wants to creep.
True. And I'm saying now, okay, let me take a step back. Let me calm down. Okay, I'm good now. So here's what I'm really saying. As far as Victor is concerned, yeah, you got to make a choice. And I'm glad, and I'm very glad that Shawn put truth to power to Victor. Because you look, if Fatima is what you want, then losing should not be an issue to you. And if you're true to self, your constituents might accept you anyways. But if
Mm-hmm.
they don't accept you, then then really what it should tell you is you're not where you should be anyways, because
Mm-hmm.
you can't live a lie.
Yeah, he said
I,
it's better to tell the truth and lose than to lie and win.
But
I
here's the
mean,
thing.
I was so proud of Shawn when he put that truth to pop.
Yep.
I mean,
He was right.
he was absolutely right. And I'm hoping, and it looks like Vic heard him. So my thing is, Vic, you really didn't want this in the first place. So
But here's the thing. He didn't sign stuff that we messing with Douda. That's the thing. Like it's
It's
you know,
complicated.
it's one thing to just lose and everything and go back to just living his life. But you didn't sign stuff. You didn't got in bed with Douda and everything. And we saw what Douda just did
Yeah.
in this episode, which I predicted. I predicted
Yeah.
that was gonna take you out. And that's the thing. This is a dangerous man. And
Yeah.
now he's thinking that he wants to, he said Victor's gonna be the light and I can be in the dark. And now Victor trying to step out of the light so he can run off with old girl.
It's
Yeah,
not gonna be so easy.
it ain't gonna be so easy.
I'm gonna tell you what though. I'm gonna tell you who needs to watch out, Fatima, because if Douda has no problems taking you.
He would not a problem at all.
And if he sees that Fatima is the reason that Victor can't get his head straight, that's a done deal.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a done deal. And so, that goes, no,
for real.
That takes me back to Victor.
That's another
Victor's got to understand, what are you doing? I mean, you're dealing with a dangerous man. And if you love this girl, here again, you got to let this girl go until you get to a situation.
Yes.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. You're not in a position to offer her anything. Until you're in a position to offer her something, then you need to step off. And then you can't be asking questions about what she's doing if you can't give her what she wants.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. And Vic even said that he feels like he's losing himself in this whole situation. So I think he just really needs to get it together. If he wants to still get back to his true essence, I think he should do that, but not with Fatima. He got to let her go because, like y'all said, being associated with her pulls her into his mess and puts her in danger. So that's something that he got to really reckon with. And then we also seen Shawn. We talked about him a little bit, but he, went to Tiara about their little hookup.
Your namesake.
Hot mess. This chick, I don't really know what to say about her because she straight up, like, Shawn was even shocked at how cold and abrasive she was. She was like, I do what I gotta do to get the things that I want. I like nice things. And I'm like, this chick is willing to sleep with whoever. She wasn't heartbroken at all that Shawn had told her they can't hook up again.
Oh, she wasn't planning on it. You know what? She might have been trying to have. Remember, she said to Trigg she wanted a baby. She knew it wasn't gonna happen with Trigg.
And she knew it wasn't gonna happen with Rosalind either.
No, right. So I was like, she saw an opportunity and like, let's watch and see. She might pop up pregnant.
Look, Shawn told her exactly right. You are cold. You ain't got no feelings for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed that. But you know what about her though? At least she's straight up. She let you know.
She is straight up. Ain't no shame in her game.
Ain't no shame. And she said, I like nice things. This is what I do. And, Shawn was in his feelings about it and all that, but hey, you kind of should have peeped that out even when, Shawn didn't really know what the whole deal was. Yeah.
Look, Shawn been in jail for long. He don't know how these women is moving out here in these 2022 streets. He still thinking he got a good old school type woman.
Right.
So I think he definitely gonna be regretting his situation with Deja.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Because we learned that he has an appreciation for vintage things. Tiara is not that. She is this new age woman.
It was funny when he talked about that when he showed the CD and Bakari ain't know what it was and everything.
Yeah, I liked that moment between them because we seen that Bakari had finally found his purpose. But before we even get there, let's talk about the kids this episode, because of course it's all this drama going on. Each of them has something going on, and Papa finally went to Jake and he was talking to him about Bakari wanting to come to him and apologize, and Jake really wasn't open to the conversation at all. But then Papa also fired back and told him, how he had been feeling neglected with their friendship, and how Bakari had really been there for him when him and Kevin was absent, dealing with their own relationship.
Their girlfriends.
Well, let's go back. I think first of all, game ball to Bakari. Okay.
Bakari.
He showed some growth this episode, a lot of growth.
He manned up. Yeah. He went and apologized. And I think that apology gave Gemma some closure.
Game ball to Gemma too for being so mature with the
She was very mature about it.
Exactly. She was extremely mature, but I did like the fact that he did that, which allowed Gemma to have some healing, some and you saw that because she hugged him, in fact. So that was a move I wasn't even expecting, but she went so that said to me, okay, she's got closure now and she can move on. My boy Jake, I know he got some growing to do. He still got a little growing to do, because he should have the whole scene out and saw that his woman is okay with this, and he should have, although I understand it, being a man, he wants to show his bravado and say, hey, look, you're my girl and I gotta protect you. Yes, you do, but it's already been done, it's been handled. And Bakari was trying to be grown about it. So
it's going to take a minute. And first of all, he and Bakari had issues before that even happened.
Yeah.
So Bakari was already an op to him. And so now Bakari is the cause of him losing his baby. Like that's a bitter pill and stuff. And maybe he'll come around, maybe he won't. But yeah.
I think Jake is trying to grow. I think, like you said, he's still reluctant because of the beef that he and Bakari had prior to them losing the baby. But at least I think when he went to go and talk with Papa on Papa's pulpit, he was sitting up there, and I think that the advice that Papa was giving him was very on point when he was saying you need to communicate better, you need to open up about your feelings, because when you bottle all that stuff up, eventually it explodes and it comes out in the worst way.
Well, game ball to the writers too, because it showed how men need to communicate with one another.
Yes, you got to have an outlet.
And need to open up emotionally with one another and still be men. So game ball to the writers for writing that in, because I felt that, I'm like, wow, that is something that we really need to do. You may have looked at it as, oh, this is a soft spot in the show, but it really isn't. It's really showing how men need to do what women do all the time, communicate.
And I like how they're bringing it out through the kids too, because these kids are very wise in a lot of these situations. Even as Pop was talking about Jake needing to pour into the friendship, you can't constantly just be taking me for granted, thinking I'm just gonna be here because we're friends. That was a very mature conversation that they had. So I do like the conversations that they're bringing to the forefront, and the kids are showing a lot of growth and wisdom. But I think that Papa was a little bit unjustified in some of his anger, because he started popping off at the beginning of the season. He was the one that was taking digs first at his friends. And so, if you're going to do that to your friends and make them feel a certain way about things, then you can't expect them to always be loyal to you and just stick around for the abuse. So I think that Papa needs to check himself as well, because Jake and Papa had reason to be beefing.
Yeah, they did, because he said some things about out of pocket, but I think he was coming from that place too, because he lost Maisha. Like, they were all booed up at one point and stuff, and now Kevin is booed up, Jake is booed up, and he was feeling out of place. And as much as I felt like you did about Papa, I did appreciate hearing his side when he did communicate that to Jake, and I was like, okay, I have a better understanding of how he was feeling, because I was feeling like, Papa, you need to read the room we're hanging with Bakari, and I get it. He's him with his father being a pastor and everything, and him being brought up in the church. Of course, he sees him as one of God's children, so of course his perspective is different on that, but I was like, he needed to read the room as far as him being an op with Jake and his relationship with Jake too. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And you know, now that Bakari is booed up too, he's gonna have to learn how to navigate, you know, on his own and deal with his friends being in relationships. Because that was another scene that I thought was very mature. How Renee was kind of pouring into Bakari and reassuring him that even though he had done some things wrong, he wasn't a monster to her.
yeah, they could relate their background with her brother. But the thing is isn't she staying with Kevin and them? Is he sneaking through Kevin and them?
Through the window.
Sneaking people in the window at somebody else's house.
But
Have
you
an
know what?
issue.
I know this is a small point, but it was funny when Bakari offered her a drink and she said, "You expect me to drink behind you?" And he said,
Right. I was like, you could have brought her another one. Get
he
her
said,
Right.
own.
You want some or no?" And then he kind of had that look, and she was like, "Yeah, let me go ahead and take this." So she kind of softened up, and you know that was a real cute little scene.
I was about to say this is like one of the first times we've actually see her soften up, and
Right.
Yeah.
and especially with another boy.
Uh-huh.
So I think that they are kind of like they come from a similar background. As she was encouraging him to write down his experiences, that's a positive outlet too.
It is a
So
positive
she
outlet.
has been a really positive influence both on Kev with channeling him in towards the gaming world, and then on Bakari as well in terms of encouraging him to write a book. So I like her place in this whole storyline as that kind of voice of reason and that compass to help these guys like navigate and channel their energy into something positive.
Now, you guys out there, if y'all looking for a woman, that's the kind of woman you want.
That's the power of a woman.
That's
The power of a
I'm
woman.
trying to tell y'all now. Don't.
Yeah, because I was like, she got him thinking about writing the
Look,
book.
You seen how he lit up when he was telling Shad about he had finally found his purpose. You know, he
that man
looked like a whole new man.
he was on cloud nine. So I'm telling you, a positive woman will light you up. A positive relationship will light you up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you got going on, I don't care what it is, but just make sure it's positive. So y'all got to be feeding one another.
Yeah.
I like about those two. She's feeding him and she's giving him what he needs. And you know, she's gonna be the one that gets him out of that, you know. In fact, I think she has done that. I think she's awakened him to the point that he now
Let's hope nothing happened to him.
I was about to say, I just like something bad
happened
gonna happen.
because karma. But I do agree with that though. Like with Renee and Bakari, and also Kevin got the gaming and stuff too. Something positive channel in it. Even when Keisha and Emmett went to the art show.
Yes.
And they went to look at that. I thought that was very positive, and I liked how Deja talked to them about the possibility of having art, starting a collection and being able to pass it down, talking about, Black folks, pass it down, Black generational wealth, legacy. This could be an heirloom for the family. Like I like that whole thing, like showing us a different side, not just the street, but.
And I was gonna say to your point about that, like I think this whole episode kind of did that, even though it wasn't maybe in the way we expected, especially with the Rob and Tiff situation. It's showing us another way of doing things. It might not have been the traditional response, but there's an alternative route. You don't have to pop off and get angry, and you don't have to continue down the path of poverty. You can kind of build yourself up and collect things of value and create this generational wealth. And even in how they're dealing with the kids and their drama, showing a different way that these kids are dealing with it. Instead of resorting to conflict, they're resorting to resolution and conversation. So I think that this whole episode did a really good job of showing an alternative to the norm.
And I really like the way Keisha is handling things. I mean, even at the art gallery, Emmett was like, "Yeah, that would be something nice to have," and she was like, "Oh," when she was mentioning the fact that we can't buy art right now because we got these kids to deal with, and I'm like, that's some real grown up stuff, and I like that. I'm just really hoping that Emmett can keep it straight with
I think he will. I think he really values Keisha. And you could tell, like, at the very opening scene when he was just getting ready to tell her about Tiff, she seemed like she was about to be so disappointed. Like, she was so worried that he had messed up.
herself up.
And, and she was like, please don't do this to me. And I think seeing that reaction to her thinking that he had messed up, I think that's enough to keep him on track, because he knows how the response, like if he did something wrong, did her dirty, I think he knows how bad and detrimental it would be to her in like their friendship, their relationship, anything they got going forward. I think that would like ruin her trust in men.
I agree.
Right. Here's the thing I'm worried about when it comes to Emmett. I'm worried that this investor was trying to encourage Douda to invest in his restaurant. It was like, oh my goodness, this is Brandon all over again. That's because that's what got Brandon caught up, was Douda was involved in his business, and you know, and Emmett is just trying to be straight and provide for his family. And if somebody like a Douda invests in his business and then tries to, you know, dirty it up and everything and stuff, it'll have Emmett in a bad predicament, and I don't want him to end up like Brandon.
And see, the problem with Douda is that he doesn't invest; he ingests, and so you know he wants to take it over. He wants to absorb everything, not just help you grow. He just wants to do it his way, bring it all into to do it his way, and leave you out there dangling. And you know, we see Emmett at a point now where he's growing, he's doing the things he wants to do, and here comes Douda with his dirty and his straightforward thug kind of behavior. And we know that Smokey's is going to be something else all
That's what worries me about that, because I was like, you know, just when he's doing well and he's trying to, you know, build something for his family. Because even when he was looking at Keisha, the way Keisha was looking at that art, he was watching her, and I was like, I would not be surprised if he doesn't find a way to get that painted for her, because she said, expressed how much she liked it, and the way he was looking at her, and I was like, he gonna buy that painting for her.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
I thought the same thing, and I thought, well, you know, while it would be a good gesture, I think saving and building, you know, because he did say we're not going to be like this forever. So I'm hoping that he realizes, he sees what she likes, he sees, and you know, he's willing to do whatever he can for her. So I think to continue to build and grow. I don't know how much that piece costs. And, you know, maybe he has it because he's been doing pretty good with Smokey's. But, you know, and if that's the case, hey, go for it. Because, you know, white folks, that's how they move their.
Yeah, and black folks too. And then it appreciates over time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but white folks do it a lot more, and black folks are getting into that art thing because art is one of the things that you can buy.
It is an asset.
It's an asset. So I'm hoping that, you know, that. Well, I mean, I don't think they can go wrong except this Douda situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm nervous about.
I'm trying to understand Otis's end game, because he seems like he was all on board to try to make change and try to, you know, I think Tracy had a really good influence on him and trying to make positive change through Rock. But she even mentioned like, oh, it feels like the old Otis is coming back now. And so he basically said the old Otis is back. And so I'm trying to figure out what's his end game now, because it seems like Nuck got his head, of course, to take Q out, and that's what he ended up doing. And so it's like, well, with Q gone, what difference does it make if you're going to be a duplicate of Q, if you're going to continue to be a negative influence in the community?
Right.
I don't know.
He's going to be over everything. I think Q was sunning him. I don't think he liked being under his thumb. And number two, this may be twisted. I think the fact that Q was also taking money from Rock, Tracy's program. So in his way, he probably feels that he's helping. And even though Tracy was like, wait a minute, that's still my son's father. And that's what I said. I was like, do not sit me. I'm like, you gonna tell her everything? You gonna tell her that you want to take him out? I'm like, at least give her plausible deniability.
Right.
Dang, you gonna just let her know that you're gonna take him out.
But on the flip side of that, Tracy, you just saw the man dipped into your account however many thousands of dollars. He cannot be controlled.
Right.
He has a gambling problem.
You can't. Douda can't go up to Q and say, you know, man, I don't think this is working out, and we're going to have to split our waves. And I hope that this doesn't anger you much, but if you can just step back and let us do Please.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, ain't but one way to handle Q. Now, my only concern is if you really want to know whether you took somebody out, two in the chest, one in the head.
Yeah. Well, he had enough breath in his body to let him know that he wasn't ish. So,
Yeah.
I think that
I think
I
he
don't.
took him out.
You
And
think
he
he's
came
dead?
in there with a bag. So I'm like,
You think he's dead?
absolutely, I think
Yeah,
he's
you
gone.
can't shoot that man and leave him alive.
Well,
Nah,
that's
he's
why I
gone.
said, that's why, look, I've known people to survive chest wounds, but you know what? Not many survive
No.
one to the head. So,
He brought a bag with him. I think
Mhm.
I don't know. We might not find Q again.
well, look, then let's dump him, okay? Because you can't trust Q. You got to cut him up in little pieces and put him in a trunk.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
hope.
just hope that Otis isn't gonna be worse than Q. Like, don't get rid of the problem just to become the problem again.
Well, you know what?
So,
But is Otis going to the Bing or whatever? Because
what?
what is happening? I saw in the previews with Marcus, like I saw
Mhm.
this conversation between Victor and Marcus, and I don't know if Marcus is finally deciding to use that tape.
I think so.
So we're gonna see.
We've been predicting that tape was gonna come back up.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
that would
I
be a
think next week is it.
well, that would be interesting because if Duda makes a run on Smokies and Emmett has a conversation with Victor, I don't know how this is going to work out, but yeah, you got to get rid of Duda too. In fact, they both got
Mhm.
to go. But Tracy, understand your leverage here. You could not keep Q around, and he's going to be dipping in your money. And what I don't know, dude's name that was telling Vic.
No.
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 Okay. Nuck, but see, and the other thing, and Nuck was saying we need to do like you in the streets, and that kind of put Duda back on that street thing. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust Duda to be straight up. He seemed like he wanted to be straight up and work with Tracy and, you know, ride off in the sunset, but I don't know if that's going to be, it looks like now he's got no other, I mean, he doesn't have Q to stand in front of him anymore. So maybe he wants to go back and be his old self.
That seems like that's the plan.
Yeah,
So
that does. And I'm wondering who was it? Did you see the previews? Who was pulling the gun on Jake?
on Jake, right? Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was like, I wonder if because Gemma was saying, make sure you be safe out there. He was like, I don't know if I can make that promise. I'm like, well, what is it that he's going to do? Because it was clearly premeditated. So maybe somebody caught him in the act of something. I didn't think that Jake would have it in him to return to like a street kind of mentality because he had been showing so much growth. So this seems like he's backtracking a little bit if that's going to happen next week.
Well, he came up under Reg, so he learned some things.
Yeah, yeah. And another topic we didn't touch on because we have been talking about how much growth a lot of people in the show have been showing. But Nina and Dre, I was surprised with Nina and her not believing Kevin about his gaming. And then like how they press so hard on him to want to attend the event and all of that stuff. And like I get that you don't want your kid involved in drug dealing and stuff, but I think they could have done a little bit of a better job dealing with that situation in terms of not pushing him away, because as a teenager that's that's the rebellious years.
Well,
And so anything you do to push them further away, you're going to close off all communication at some point. They're not going to want to open up.
I fault Kevin, and here's the reason why. First of all, Nina, you had no business going through his things, okay? But you did. That's your house, so you can do whatever you want to. But you find a wad of money, 3 rolls, and
That ain't all she found though. He had some $500 jackets and new gaming systems.
Yeah.
And typically, we know that in the community, urban community like that, when you got wads of money stashed away, it ain't for no good reason. So I can understand Nina for how she
questioning where the money came.
Exactly. She did exactly what she's supposed to do as a parent. What I didn't like was Kevin. Because see, instead of you losing your control to your parents, they did offer up a good plan. Why don't you take us with you? Now you don't have to go there and say, hey everybody, this is my mom and her, blah, blah, blah. and her boo or her significant other. You never do that. Mom, this is where I go to play the game. They could have sat in the back or whatever just to watch him play for a few minutes. At least know that he's not lying about where he's going.
I think you'd been better off showing a flyer or something
Yeah.
because and because at teenage years that would have been embarrassing and stuff for them to do that. And
Mhm.
They wouldn't have to
I
know,
felt like Nina,
but they don't
once
have to
again,
know.
Nina was jumping to conclusions again, like
But
just like she did with Trey
Yeah.
I
in the
mean,
relationship. She jumped to conclusions
you might
with
have,
that.
but you got to understand. I mean, I would be the same way. If I went into my kids'
Oh,
thing,
I would have asked about the money. Of course,
Mhm.
I would have been like, okay, where does money come from and everything
because
like
they
that.
don't know, in their era, you don't make that kind of money playing no game. So I could fully understand why they wouldn't believe that storyline.
But
And
you know what though? In this era, in 2022, there is a gamer on YouTube,
oh, no,
PewDiePie. His net worth is 54 million. There are gamers out
no,
there
no,
making
no,
that type of money.
don't
But
get me.
what Kevin could have done instead of popping off, he could have, because apparently he had a secret code, a secret invitation, or whatever and stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe he should have just showed them and be like, see, here's
Well,
rather than if he didn't want to have them coming because it is a secret society and to have your parents there, that would have him looking like a lame in front of folks too.
well, he could have said. I mean, they didn't have to come in, or even if they just stuck their head in the door and left. But like you said, and yeah, in today's society, that's what's going on. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how he could have otherwise said it, but if it's a secret society and there's no
Mm-hmm.
flyer and there's no this, you still gotta respect your parents and try
Right.
to find a way to say this is where that money came from because she has
Mm-hmm.
every right to think that.
That's why I said you could show the
Mhm.
flyer. You could
But I
show
mean,
say like this is my entry code to whatever. Da, da, da.
I
Or get Lene to back him
That's what
up.
I was gonna say. Lene could back
Renee,
him.
or even his girlfriend. I mean, his girlfriend was there with him as well. So you
Mm-hmm.
got
Mm-hmm.
you got two other people that you didn't have to fly off the handle and go that route.
No,
Yeah, because
he
it seemed
didn't.
like next week he talking about going and taking his parents to court and some
They
more
could
stuff. I'm like, well, this escalated quick.
this escalated quickly. Yeah, but I think Kevin's point of view, and I'm not justifying him being disrespectful to parents or nothing like that, but I think he's like of all the things that I could be getting into,
Mhm.
he could be in the street selling, he could be getting in trouble, and for him to be gaming, I mean, and then to not be believed too.
But
Yeah.
we got the parent role, we got the kids role,
Right.
and kids you can't overrule. I mean, you can't just lash out at your parents because they don't understand. You got to find a way to make them understand because
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
don't. They're not in that era, so they don't have any idea that that's what goes on. And had she had an inkling that you can play games and make that kind of money, I think it would have come off a lot of.
You can Google that. So
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I said. I'm hoping too. I hope that they can come to a happy medium. Like he can apologize. I'm hoping that they do their due diligence on their end, and also maybe research like gaming in the schools because we saw earlier in the season that the guy at the job at the school he's offering to sponsor to be a
Yep.
sponsor for the gaming team. So if they even check with the school, they would find out that there is a role for gaming right in Kevin's school.
mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's just the whole thing spun out of control because now Kev is stashing money at Simone's house and talking about moving out. It's
Well,
just a whole breakdown in communication. I think that's what we talk about a lot in the show is
Mm-hmm.
that there's like a breakdown in communication with a lot of the older characters, especially because we talk about how the younger folks they tend to show a lot of maturity and wisdom, and they, especially with Papa, he is always encouraging like healthy communication. But we don't always see the same thing on the side of the adults. So I
but
think they could take some notes from the kids.
But like you mentioned in the coming series, where it looks like Kevin wants to emancipate from his parents, um, you know, wow, man. I mean, it got that far, that fast. I mean,
Right.
so my thing is, and that's why I say it's Kevin more so them. Um,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
because
and Simone put it in his head
Mhm.
because she was like, "Oh, I see why you want to move out."
right,
Mhm.
and she should have been a little more thoughtful with that, because she's up to this point has been quite uh, benefit for them. But you know, you want to emancipate from your parents because because of this money thing. Look, that money may not last that long. You making it now, but there's always somebody better than you coming up. So your days might be short. Then what? So where you going?
Yeah.
You always got to think forward. I know he's young, and we give
Yeah.
youth these days, but hey, just not a good look. Not a good look.
Yeah. And we're talking about the topic of money. Jada and Darnell, Jada seems to want to be very responsible with the money that they do have because they're planning their wedding, and Darnell wants to go all out. This is his third wedding, so he is trying to have the grand finale, as he calls it. And so he wants to go all out, do it big. He's inviting 200 people alone from his side.
Yeah,
and Jada is trying to like reel him in and say, she just wants something small and private in somebody's backyard, have something intimate. And so I think that was very smart on her part to just try to keep it modest and just have it be more about having a special experience and a memorable time versus all of the show.
But I can understand the pomp and circumstances he wants around all that. And I think they could have come to a happy medium, say 70, 75 people,
I think they did.
They did come to a meeting. They're going to stick with a small wedding.
Well, I'm talking about rather than small, 70 people, 75 people, and have. But he wants to show off. I get it. I mean, if you can afford it, I get it. If you can afford, say, 70 people, in a nice, not a big place, because at 200, you're going to have a big place because you got 200 just on your side. And even if she invites the few that's on her side, that's a huge wedding. So you can break it down from 200. All your folk ain't got to show up. Put it on YouTube or something and live stream it. You can do that too.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. I think that they're showing positive growth in their relationship. Darnell, he seems to be thinking more like a husband, because he's starting to realize that he's gonna have to give in a little bit and not be reckless, because thus far we've seen him being very irresponsible in his relationships and not really showing a lot of thought and foresight into planning and just being there and being responsible. But he's shown a lot of growth recently, and so I think that Jada is a really good influence on him in terms of bringing him back to earth and like centering him. Like I think she really gives him that missing piece that he's been needing to keep him stable.
Well, you see, he decided to give the money to the Rock organization. The money he was going to use for his tux, but he did say that he was going to keep the Bluetooth down the aisle. I'm like, oh no.
Some things will never change.
Some things will never change.
I don't. You heard what she said. No, you're not. I don't think that is going down the aisle.
He's not gonna make it down the aisle.
Yeah, but getting back to Kevin giving that money to his lady friend, that could be a really messed up situation.
Well, she said she was gonna snitch if her grandma found out.
If your grandma finds out.
We're still amazed that they able to chill in her bedroom. The door was open at first, but then she got up and shut the door. And I was like,
yeah.
You doing closed doors? Where's grandma? I was waiting for her to bust in any minute.
And we don't know what kind of person grandma is. She might take that money and go to bingo somewhere.
I heard that.
She might buy her little outfit and she bingoing all week long.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got to see how that plays out. I mean, I really liked this episode. I think it has so much to talk about, especially with the Tiff and Rob and all of that situation. But I did enjoy it, and I like where the show is headed, especially as we are approaching the season finale. So I think next week's episode is definitely going to be very explosive. It looks like it has a lot that's going to go down. And of course, I mean, we expect that from a season finale. But we've also heard that the Chi has been renewed for season 6. So we are very happy to hear that. That's great news that will continue the story, because they could not leave us hanging here. It's so much stuff that still needs to be tied up that I'm looking forward to. So looking forward to next week. Looking forward to seeing where they're going to leave us for the end of season 5. And just thinking about the show so far, like this season was really good in my opinion. I liked where they took things in the direction of this season.
Me too.
Me too. Me too.
In terms of the who can get the hands list, you got any nominations?
Tiara,
I'm thinking Q was always on my list. Yeah. I think he got the hands. He got the bullets.
Yeah, he did. He got the hands and the bullets.
Tiara can get the cold hands because that's what she's.
Yeah, Tiff
is definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
did we give Duda the hands?
I think he did what needed to be done.
Yeah, I think he did what he had to do. So I'm not giving him. But I think Rob gets the look. We're not gonna give him.
We side eye him.
Yeah, we're gonna side eye Rob. Because I don't know, my boy.
I do want to kind of give him the game ball. I might give him
Rob.
Rob, I did like how he was.
He was mature. He was very mature in the way he handled that situation.
Yes, but I do think he could have pressed Tiff a little bit harder. But he was taking the mature route, so I do appreciate that and trying to change the narrative of the family unit. So
yes.
So we can side eye him, but while giving him the game ball.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I think who else will we get the game ball? Keisha.
I like how Keisha handled the situation. It still remains to be seen how she gonna react to Tiff. So I think we might have to withhold it because she might go ham next week.
Yeah, I was because of the way she handled it and the way that she handled the baby too, helping him with his schoolwork and everything too. There's another reason why I wanted to give her the game ball. Rashad definitely gets the game ball. Rashad too. Rashad for being a good influence on Bakari too.
Not
Rashad.
Rashad, yeah.
Rashad, yeah.
Like I ain't mad at Rashad either. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, I mean he indirectly had a positive effect on
Emmett.
Emmett. It's just that he was dubious in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good word for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I think I think Keisha, I think she deserved it. And was there anybody else?
Emmett too. I like how.
Emmett too. I like
her the truth.
Emmett too. Yeah. Emmett and Keisha and Emmett get the game ball.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, I enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to next week to see what goes down for the season finale. Please make sure you guys drop down in the comments and give us your predictions for next week. And give us your thoughts on this episode as well. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. There's a subscribe button right down there. If you click it, you will be a part of the family. You'll be open to all of the benefits that comes with being a spotter. So you definitely want to do that. Make sure you click the notification bell so you're alerted every time we post. And follow us on our social media because that's really the main means of communication that we use to bring guests on and to invite you guys onto the show and do roundtables and whatnot. So make sure you're following us, especially on Instagram. That's where most of the communication goes down. You guys got anything to add before we close out?
Nope. I'm looking forward to the season finale.
Yeah, I am too.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. It's been great having you. Please make sure you're back next week where we come to recap the season finale of The Chi. So thanks again for watching and have a good night.
Bye.
Can I do to inspire you to come home to me? Come home to me. What can I do? You don't have to go home, but you gotta get the hell up out of here. I can't stand the pain. I don't think I can stand being alone. Sure enough,